Wow, okay, so we are really doing this. Welcome to the That Time When podcast. I am Katie, and we are going to be talking about that time when I did all kinds of crazy, stupid shit. No, but really, this podcast is going to cover lifestyle, dating, friendships, career, health and wellness, maybe, because I know jack shit about that, but we'll probably still talk about it. Yeah, it's going to pretty much cover everything that us 20 somethings are dealing with, going through, want to talk about, etc. Speaking of which, I should probably tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Katie. I am 27. I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I still live in Massachusetts. I will probably never leave Massachusetts, to be honest. Um, yeah, I just moved in with my boyfriend last fall, so you don't worry, there will definitely be an episode on that because holy shit, that was not what everyone told me it was going to be. In a good way, and maybe sometimes a bad way, to be honest. But yeah, we will talk about that eventually. But yeah, I live with my boyfriend. I live with my two cats. I feel like I don't really have a lot of hobbies, which is partly how at least, this podcast is getting started because your girl needs a freaking hobby. Um, I used to be really wild, which is why I have so many good stories for this podcast that you guys will be hearing in all of my future episodes. But yeah, I used to be really crazy and do a lot of stupid shit. And now I feel like I have finally settled down. And I'm probably not an authority to be giving anyone any sort of advice about anything, but in my own mind, I've been through plenty of stuff and I feel like I have a lot of good things to say. So if you want to hear all of those great things I'm going to be talking about, you can subscribe to this podcast. I will have new episodes every Monday. You can also follow the Instagram for this podcast at That Time When Pod because I'll be putting more content on there. You can tell me what you guys want to hear me talk about on there. Maybe you'll learn a little bit more about me. Who knows? I don't even know what's going to be on there yet. I'm still figuring all this out. I am so new to this. And it's very weird. I feel so weird talking to myself right now in my living room because my boyfriend finally left for work and I felt weird recording my first episode in front of him. Um, but, anyways, maybe we should get into what this first episode is even going to be about. And since there's so much shit going on in the world right now, you can probably guess exactly what I'm going to be talking about, and that is quarantine. So, we've been in quarantine for 3 weeks now, at least for me. I was sent to work from home from my job 3 weeks ago. Today, I'm recording this on Friday, April 3rd. So, 3 weeks ago today, I was sent to work from home. Um, I felt fine at first, but the longer this has gone on, the more anxiety I've been feeling. And I am not someone who gets anxiety. I've never experienced anxiety like this, at least to this extent. Like, I did not know my body was capable of feeling this anxious. I feel like every time I look at the news, it's always worse. It's always bad news, and it's always worse than the day before. And I feel like that is what is causing me the most panic. I honestly should delete Twitter, but I have a sick obsession with it, so that won't be happening. But every time I read the news, I feel this panic in my chest that I've never felt before. Like my chest, at first I thought, oh my God, I must be getting sick with the virus. But then after it started happening, I noticed it was happening every time that I was reading bad news, and I realized that it was just this anxiety that I've never felt before. And that's scary in itself. Like feeling this way, feeling just so helpless and like everything is out of my control. It's scary for me because, like I said, I've never dealt with this before. I know a lot of people deal with anxiety, um, and I have a new understanding and sympathy and empathy, I guess, for people who have dealt with anxiety because this is awful. Like, I feel like it sends me into this spiral in my own head. Like, I get in this dark hole of just thinking around in circles about the worst case scenario and what's going to happen and feeling like this will never end. Like today, I was in the car with my boyfriend Glenn and I was reading this article on BuzzFeed while we were driving. And it said that this will not end until there's a vaccine and that we're going to continue having, quarantines or whatever until there's finally a vaccine, which won't be for at least a year. And like, that freaked me out so bad. Like, he thought that something was seriously wrong or that I was upset with him or something, because I just had this look on my face, like this scared, angry look. And I wasn't even speaking at all because I just was going around in circles in my head thinking about all of the ways that this is going to affect me and affect everyone. It's really, really scary. And I've been so fortunate that no one that I know personally has become sick. I've been very, very lucky in that sense. But I know that for so many people, that's obviously not the case. And that's also scary too. It's like a friend of mine, she just lost someone in her extended family because of it. So it's starting to get a little bit closer to my circle. And I know that it's only going to get worse because this thing is just spreading like wildfire. So that's really scary too. I mean, my biggest stressor about all of this right now has been the thought of losing my job. I work for a really large retailer, and obviously everything's closed right now. Non-essential businesses are closed, at least here in Massachusetts. I'm pretty sure that's the situation across the country, or at least in most states. And so we're not making any money right now. We closed all of our stores across the country. We're making nothing. And I know that the longer this goes on, the more money they're going to lose, and the less likely it is that they can afford to keep me and my coworkers and everyone. So that's really scary. I'm lucky at 27 that I've never experienced a layoff. But again, it's the unknown of that really is freaking me out. Like Glenn's sister, she works for another large retailer. She was just furloughed. So I know that could very well happen to me very soon, and it's kind of terrifying. I'm in my 20s in 2020. Like, not a lot of us have a big savings account to fall back on. I finally am in a position that I can comfortably financially support myself, and the thought of having all of that ripped away and not having any control over it is so terrifying. It's really the control thing for me. Like, I feel like I have no control over whether I keep my job. I have no control over my daily life. I have no control over whether, my friends or my family or my loved ones get sick. There are certain steps we can take, but at the end of the day, it's like, it feels like this is happening to anyone and everyone. Like, it feels so out of our control. And I think that's what's so terrifying about this for so many people, is that unknown factor. It's such uncharted territory. Obviously, none of us has ever experienced anything like this before. And it is crazy. Like, some days I wake up and I feel like there's no way this is real. Like, it really feels like we are living in a movie right now. And I've heard people saying, like, oh my gosh, we're living through history. Like, we're going to be telling stories about this forever. But not going to lie, I don't really give a shit. I don't want to live through history. I don't want this going on right now. I want this to be over. I want my life back. I want things to go back to normal. And I mean, I realize in some ways that sounds selfish. Like, don't get me wrong. I feel absolutely terrible for the people who are really affected by this and have, either lost a loved one because of this, or someone in their family or in their circle has fallen ill. And I know that very well could be me any day. But it's just really scary. I feel like I've had days that, like, I just get that feeling in my chest and I get so in my head about it all that I just, like, I don't even want to get off the couch or get out of bed. I don't say a word the whole day, it feels like. I think, like, when Glenn comes up to me, I don't even want to talk to him. Like, I don't have anything to say because I feel like every word that's going to come out of my mouth is going to be so negative. And I feel bad. I try to not be a totally negative person. But, like, when that's how I'm feeling, it's like I feel like I can't even think of the bright side. And like I said earlier, like, I know I'm far from the only person who is feeling so anxious about this. And I know that there are people who have suffered with anxiety for, their entire lives, or have suffered with anxiety prior to all of this happening. So if you have any tips for feeling a little less anxious about all of this, I would love to hear them. You can go over to the Instagram for this podcast at That Time Pod, or That Time When Pod. Wow, I can't even get my own podcast name right. That's really good for the first episode. Anyways, at That Time When Pod, comment on my first post. Let me know how you're dealing with all of this. I think it would be really helpful for not only me, but for everyone, because everyone is, suffering with this in one way or another. So let's try to maybe help each other out. I'm not one of those people who says cheesy shit like we need to support one another in this time and yada yada. But I'm gonna say that cheesy shit because this is insane. So yeah, if you have any tips, let me know. Leave them on the Instagram. Let's help each other out. Let's try to get through this. Speaking of getting through this, I've been finding new ways to pass the time. On the first day of quarantine, well, like my first work from home day of quarantine, I made a list on my phone of things I could do to pass the time. So I've tried some new workout classes. I like working out. I'm not like a crazy fitness person. If you looked at me, you probably would not know that I go to the gym. That's a lie, but like I'm not a hardcore fitness person, so like, trying some new workouts on this quarantine was a big step for me. So, I have tried Pilates. Not so bad. Don't hate it. I followed Hot Pilates. It's a studio in LA. They've been posting workouts on their Instagram. So I've been doing some of those. I don't hate it. It's hard. It looked easy in the video. It is not. So those have been fun, but killing me. Highly recommend though. There's this studio in Boston called Bar Groove, and I've been trying some of their workouts. They have like, I don't even know what you call it. Like there are bar classes, but I don't even know what you call the other ones. It's like kind of like Pilates and bar and like all kinds of stuff mixed together. Anyways, their classes have been really fun. I've actually been really liking them. On the flip side, I tried yoga. Never again. I hate yoga. I think it is so boring. I cannot sit there and just be with my thoughts and hold my breath. Also, how are you supposed to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 4 seconds? That is a long time for one breath. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So, anyways, yoga, not for me. I have a bunch of like random workout equipment. I have like kettlebells and little hand weights and bands. So I've been trying to make up my own workouts. But obviously those, I just do a bunch of random shit and hope that my Apple Watch says I burned enough calories. So it's been interesting. What else have I done? I've been baking. I baked one batch of cookies. So I saw this recipe on Instagram for like 3-ingredient peanut butter cookies, and it's a cup of sugar, a cup of peanut butter, and 1 egg. So I made them. I told my boyfriend, ooh, I'm going to make peanut butter cookies tonight. He was all excited. He loves peanut butter. So I make these cookies, and they're done. They come out of the oven. They're cooling. And I said to him, I was like, oh, they're only 3 ingredients, so like maybe they won't be as bad for you because they don't have flour. And he goes, oh, they don't have flour? That's not a real cookie. I'm not trying that. And he has refused to eat them. Like, you sassy little bitch, eat the friggin' cookie. So rude. Like, it doesn't even matter. If I hadn't said anything, he would have eaten them and probably been like, oh my God, these are great. Pro tip, never ever tell a boy the ingredients in anything you cook because they're just going to bitch about it. So keep it to yourself and just tell them, oh, I'm so glad you like it. Don't tell them what's in it. Anyways, I've also been reading. I don't like to read. I don't ever read. I'm not one of those, what's the word, scholarly. I'm not one of those kind of people who likes to read. But I've read 3 books already in the last 3 weeks. A couple of good ones, actually. I read Jessica Simpson's book. I actually really liked it. It was really interesting. The whole time when she was talking about like stuff they were filming for Newlyweds and everything, I was going on YouTube and searching episodes of Newlyweds to see if I could pick up on anything, to see like, ooh, this was the day that they fought about that, or like this was the day she almost left him. But I couldn't pick up on it. Like I don't know if I'm just bad at reading those kinds of things or what. Maybe it's because we're so used to reality TV being fake that we just expect it to be fake. I don't know if that makes any sense. Do you get what I'm saying? Like maybe I just wasn't picking up on it because I was expecting it to not be legit. I don't know. Or her to be faking her happiness. But anyways, it was a really good book. I highly recommend it. I got through it in like 2 days. And like I said, I don't read, so that was impressive. I've also been cleaning a lot. So Glenn is a police officer, so he still has to go to work. So every time he comes home, he could potentially bring this virus into our apartment. So I've been cleaning like crazy. Like my shower has never looked better. My fridge is spotless. I literally took everything out and scrubbed the entire interior of my fridge. My floors have been wiped down. I Lysol wipe something every single day. It's crazy. I have never been, don't get me wrong, I'm not a dirty person. I can be messy, but I'm not dirty, and I firmly believe there is a large distinction between the two. I'm not a dirty person, but I have never seen this apartment cleaner in the 8 months that we have lived here. So maybe quarantine is good for something, I guess. My apartment looks much better. And it's not like the nicest apartment, so it does feel good at least that it is clean. So the other thing I've been doing, like probably everyone else on the planet, is watching Netflix. I obviously watched Tiger King. I called it from the second that Joe started singing that that was not actually him singing. Turns out I was right. I liked it. Everyone's saying it's the craziest Netflix documentary they've ever seen. This might be the unpopular opinion, but I think Abducted in Plain Sight was so much crazier. Tiger King was good, don't get me wrong, but Abducted in Plain Sight was for sure a little bit more wild. Like, these parents let their neighbor just kidnap their kid and, like, agreed not to tell anyone. And then this dude had the little girl convinced that she was abducted by aliens. That is so much crazier than this tiger shit. I mean, whatever. Let me know what you think. But I thought that was for sure the real winner here. But I have been thoroughly enjoying all of the Tiger King TikToks. Yes, I'm a 27-year-old who watches TikToks. I'm obsessed. I actually could sit on that app for hours. That's another thing I've been doing to pass the time during quarantine, actually, is watching TikToks. I like the animal ones because, watching 15-year-olds dancing isn't quite my thing, but there's some quality animal content on there. There's some funny stuff. I've obviously been living for the Tyler and Hannah TikToks. I really want them back together. I want them to get married. I'm sickly obsessed with The Bachelor. I can't wait for all of this to pick back up. I really need The Bachelorette to come on. I need Bachelor in Paradise. But anyways, TikToks for sure are a time suck, and that's been good. I've been sleeping a lot. If anyone from my office is listening to this, I've been sleeping since like noon. So I'm really sorry, guys. I check my email at 9 a.m. and then go back to bed for like 3 or 4 hours. But sleeping passes a lot of time. I mean, maybe not if you're staying up until 4 in the morning, because I guess I'm just like shifting my sleep schedule and totally screwing it up. But sleeping has passed a lot of time for me. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up to. I live really close to a beach, so I've been walking at the beach because there's never really anyone there, and it's a good place to get fresh air without like being too close to people, because my neighborhood isn't actually safe enough for me to walk in. I don't live in the safest area. So yeah, walking at the beach has been nice, but as of today, the beaches are now closed, or at least the beach that I always go to walk. So that's super unfortunate. So I need to find a new place to walk that is still not busy so I can keep my distance from everyone. But yeah, what have you guys been up to? I'm very curious what everyone else is doing, because when I made my list of things to do, I thought this was going to be like a 2-week thing. And now we have at least another month. So my list has been pretty exhausted. So please feel free to, again, go to the Instagram, comment, let me know what you guys are up to. If you have any suggestions for anything I can watch, let me know. Lifetime movies have been killing a lot of time for me, but those, they're all pretty much the same, so those can only hold me over for so long. But yeah, what are you guys up to? What's passing the time for you? Is it warm where you live? Can you actually be outside? Because here in Massachusetts, it has been raining almost every single day. It sucks. I'm so sick of it. It is April. Like, what is going on? Why is it not spring yet? I at least want to sit on my deck. I finally got some little deck furniture so I can like sit on my deck and at least read or something. That would come in handy right now to like lift my spirits, some vitamin D or whatever. But no, pouring rain. So that's great. If you can hear the wind howling outside my windows, yeah, that should give you an idea of how shitty this weather is. So anyways, I hope that everyone is hanging in there and doing well. I know I'm kind of starting to lose my mind, and I'm sure you guys are too. But hang in there. Hopefully this will be over sooner than, the news is making it kind of seem, because right now it seems like it's never going to end. But hopefully this is over soon. I mean, this is a really good time to FaceTime, people you haven't seen in a while. I've always been a huge FaceTime person. I am like the queen of drunk FaceTimes. I love to FaceTime call people. So maybe after this, everyone will enjoy FaceTime as much as I always have, but probably not. But anyways, like FaceTime someone you haven't talked to in a while. Last night, my college roommate and I FaceTimed for like an hour and a half, and we haven't seen each other in close to a year. And it was so nice to catch up with her. And like, I love those friendships where you just pick up right where you left off with them. And that's how she and I are. So it was really nice to just catch up with her. So, like reach out to an old friend, reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a while. Call your grandparents. I'm sure that they are like, having a really hard time with this. My grandmother is at really high risk for this virus because she has COPD. So, I should call her tomorrow, but call your grandparents, check in on them. Like I said, call an old friend. I know it's hard because you can't really see people that you're not quarantined with right now. So, like for me, that means I can't really see my family, which is a huge bummer. But yeah, use this opportunity to just call up someone that you haven't talked to in a while and let them know that you're thinking of them. You never know how someone might be struggling with this right now. So I feel like that little phone call could go a really long way. But anyways, I think that is going to be it for this episode. I feel like this one was a little bit shorter. My other ones will probably be a little bit longer, but don't hold me to that because I honestly have no idea. But there will be a lot of story times to come about that time when I left my first job, that time when I ghosted a guy more than one time, to be honest, all the times guys have ghosted me. There's a lot of good stories to come from, dating to boys to relationships and career and friendships and just life. All kinds of things that, us girls in our 20s deal with. So there's a lot of good stuff to come. So I really hope that you guys will subscribe, stick around. I know I'm going to say this like a million times. Follow the Instagram at That Time When Pod. Please leave me a review wherever you're listening to this. Leave me a review, please. I think, Apple Podcasts is like the place to leave reviews. Can you leave a Spotify review? I probably should have looked into this stuff before I decided to start a podcast. But yeah, leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. That would go a very long way for me. And please come back next Monday for my next episode. I would love to hear what you guys thought of this first one, and I'm really excited to keep doing more of these. So until then, I will talk to you guys next Monday.